are going to a serious topic. So, I don't know about you guys, but I woke up this morning to a flurry of... Oh, you don't have Instagram, so it doesn't apply to you, Chris. You're out.
Sorry.
But a lot of celebrities had a lot to say about this whole immigration thing. I don't know if anyone else noticed over the last 2 days.
Yeah, it was a bit everywhere.
It was everywhere.
I don't follow a lot of celebrities.
No?
Who are we talking about?
You know, some models, Kevin Hart. There's a lot of people that had a lot to say. And that's where I was like, what the heck is going on? So I did go and do some research. So as we know, there's a lot going on in the USA around immigration and the borders, etc. But today, I think, it was one good step in the right direction. So Donald Trump has signed a executive order to stop families being separated at the US and Mexico border. So traditionally...
I think you should take it back to what started this, right? Which was 3 weeks ago. I can't remember which person or senator did this, but they brought in a zero tolerance policy.
Oh, correct. So it was in April.
Yeah.
So they brought in the zero tolerance policy, which means anyone who crosses the USA or the Mexico border will be prosecuted as like a crime. So they go through,
and they have to be detained.
Correct.
And that was Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, who looks like a small Keebler elf.
Thanks.
And
according to every single talk show on.
But part of that is separated kids from family, right?
Correct.
Yes, because it's illegal for them to detain the kids.
Yes, you have to put them in care. So traditionally, they would separate them. Parents would go off, and they would be they'd have to make a plea, right? Because it's prosecution. So often they would plead guilty. Because I'm not sure what else they would. I don't know how you would say you were innocent in that case. They would say they're guilty, and then they would actually be, in most cases, sent back home. But their kids would then be detained and go through a much longer process to process it, to see why they're there, to check their well-being as part of the Human Services Organization. So they were separating them. So I think it's been about a month and a half or so, and almost 2,000 kids have been detained and separated from.
I've got the numbers
families.
here.
I think it's 1995.
From the 5th of May to the 9th of June.
Yep.
2,342 children.
Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures. Like, it's grim. It's not like... I've seen some other detention centers. Like, it's not, you're secluded. But this is with kids in cages, sleeping on floors, having no...
One of the places was an abandoned Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess it's just a floor, like an
Correct.
open floor, and they've got mats down.
Just put mattresses
down. They had
down.
them in the, those, not aluminium,
the foil.
tin foil, blankets that they give to people who are, first aid. Yeah, people in shock. They were wearing those blankets.
So it's not the best circumstances there. So then leads me back to the point that I made previously, the fact that there was a lot of backlash from it, and that's why Trump, of course, signed the order today to stop that. So it doesn't take away their strict border policy and protection, but it just means that the families won't be separated. So the families will now be able to stay together in those detention centers. But that does mean that it's an indefinite time, right? Because now they still have to work through what does that mean though. So they'll go there, you still have to be processed. What's going to happen to the kids? They've also got to actually make sure that it's legitimate. Like, you just know how some people try and bring not necessarily their kids over the border. So they've actually got to do all of that process.
Which is, that's one of the justifications, is to stop sex trafficking.
Correct.
Right?
And taking kids and, kids that are not theirs over the border as well. I think the sad part about it, though, is that it's not also going to be applying to the people that are currently separated. So those 2,000 kids, they've still got to work through what that means for them. It's not retrospectively applied to them. It's only for those who are now crossing over. So, yeah, it's heartbreaking if you see all the pictures and... It's not cool.
Well,
but I think it's
one Fox
good
News
step.
host said that she looked at it and she said it was like a summer camp. She didn't know why everyone was so upset.
Yeah. One other guy was like...
Laura Ingram.
Another guy was like, well, if you don't want to lose your kids and don't cross the border. And I was like, wow, that is super ignorant.
Well, the even worse thing about that one was the guy was trying to tell a story about a poor kid with Down syndrome who got separated. And he's just like, wah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I like how the guy...
Wait, you made that sound?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like, how far gone do you have to actually be
to be that insensitive to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Fox News. I think they've all just been scrubbed clean of any kind of
Well, that wasn't
compass.
that was one of Trump's people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. They're basically the same thing at this point.
Yeah. And of course the what do they call it? Homeland Security. The security of Homeland Security. She's obviously been attacked quite a bit, and people saw her in restaurants and stuff.
It was quite interesting. She had to come out and announce what they were doing or defend the policy in front of the press because Sarah Huckabee Sanders wouldn't do it. So she's the one who normally comes out and stands in front of the press and answers all their questions and lies and whatever.
Yeah.
But it seemed like she wouldn't do it because she couldn't defend it. So I feel like we found the limit, like her limit.
Yeah.
It's interesting. And I don't think apparently she was the Kirsten Nielsen was resisting.
So American of you,
Yeah.
Kirsten.
Yeah. True blue American, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What the? Anyway. Yeah, and so apparently she didn't want to she wasn't really on board until the higher ups in the Trump campaign area, not campaign, Trump White House convinced her. So like there's sort of like an axis of evil in there. I think there's a guy named Stephen Miller who's just like, there's a video of this guy from when he was in high school trying to become class president, and he's basically campaigning on the premise that they shouldn't have to pick up their rubbish because that's what the janitors get paid for.
Wow.
That's literally what he says. So he seems to have continued that trend basically into adult life of being an absolute jerk.
Are you saying that you don't think that she wanted to the reform?
I think she understood that it was obviously pretty evil as well.
Yeah.
I think most people understand that.
Yeah, but then there's some people who
don't. There's a group of people, especially online, that are saying, well, if you don't want to get caught, then leave your kids away from the border. Trump,
like, Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General, came out saying, and he used a Bible verse. There was like this whole, like, this thing's evolved like crazy over the last week. I think last month, though, Samantha Bee got in trouble because she used the C word to describe Ivanka Trump because she posted a picture with her child, and Samantha Bee was like, "How like your dad is doing this stuff to all these kids? It's really like." She was basically commenting on how crazy it was that you're talking about motherhood while your dad does something so horrible to other families. But then this week, Jeff Sessions came out using a Bible verse to justify the policy, which was the same Bible verse that has been used in the past to justify slavery and also used in Nazi Germany to justify their authority as well. It was basically along the lines of you have to follow the law.
Yeah.
And then so it's evolved quite a lot because then Trump said he didn't like seeing kids separated, but it was his policy.
Yeah.
But then he was trying to make it sound like it was the Democrats. So I feel like the whole thing's been a play.
Yeah.
To try and push some sort of bill through, which will get Trump his wall.
Yeah. Because he said that they don't want to sit down and have a conversation about what's the next step.
Yeah.
But he could have pulled it away ages ago.
Well, at first he was saying it was a Democrat law, and the Democrats need to fix their law, which is weird because the Republicans control the House and the Senate.
Yeah.
But I don't think in the Senate they have enough votes to push through whatever they want. They need 60 votes, and they don't have that.
We have a relevant comment.
Yeah.
Nick's asking, are you guys not acknowledging that Ted Cruz sent through a proposal to rectify the current legislation to make sure kids didn't get separated and the Democrats full-on shut it down?
That doesn't sound like the full story. I'm pretty sure there would have been a bunch of other stuff in that bill.
Not knowing all the facts.
Because the Republicans are proposing, they are pushing through legislation right now, and it includes funding for the wall and reducing legal migration. Trump wants to get rid of the visa lottery system and replace it with a merit-based system, which we can't scoff at because that's what we have.
Yeah. The lottery thing's weird anyway.
I mean, Australians can't scoff at any of this.
No.
We kept kids in prison for like years.
We love it.
Yeah. Like, we're like Trump's goal. He wants to be able to do what we've done.
Cool.
So definitely not from a point of view of like, oh, Australia's so good, how dare those Americans do something so gross. It's like, well, this is bad, what we do is bad as well. It's hypocritical to say we're better, but it's just, there's two bad situations.
Yeah. And it just gets such because it's him as well, I think it just gets such like media attention.
Yeah,
and it blows up. And then you're like, oh, and then
there is stuff that Obama did as well that wasn't great.
Yeah, because like, this happened during
it happened during his presidency as well.
Yeah, just not on the scale that it did now, but they had to turn people families away as
they
well.
were trying a number of things because the numbers of people coming through Latin America was actually really, really high.
Yeah.
And probably higher than they could actually sustain.
Mm.
So they were trying to deter them, and a court stopped them from doing it. This was when Obama was in charge. A court stopped them from doing what they were trying to do because they were trying to use it as a deterrent. So it isn't really a new issue.
No. I think it's just
But I think
increased
everyone
over the
agrees.
last-
Everyone agrees it's horrible to separate kids from their parents, but the way they're going to have to do it is they're going to have to undo a rule that was already in place that meant that there was a limit on the time frame that you could detain children.
And the conditions in which they have to be kept as
Yeah,
well.
it basically, the reason they're separating them right now is something called the Flores rule,
Hmm.
which a court ordered and Bill Clinton agreed to. And I think they're trying to undo it. So that will let them do indefinite detention, which is like what we have in Australia, and that will act as a deterrent to
Yep.
people coming in because they'll be able to put them in detention
Yeah.
centers and keep them there forever.
Yeah.
Isn't that not really a deterrent? Because I guess you wouldn't hear about that. It's just terrible for who it happens to.
They would advertise it in the right places, I would imagine. Like the
Oh, you
strategy
mean
in
would they not
Australia
know
is
coming in that's what happens.
Yeah.
Australia plays ads in other countries saying if you try and come here without a visa, it's great for tourism, isn't it? They basically play ads in other countries saying you'll be put in a prison
Right.
forever.
Not
It'd be interesting.
You will never get to Australia.
It'd
That's
be
their
interesting
ad.
to see the list of like where they put the tourist ads and where they put the anti-tourism ads.
See, there's a strong correlation to color of skin
Yeah.
or size of wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think it's a wait and see. Actually, it's a little bit of limbo for people and to see what will come of this. But
Sorry.
you go.
You go. Yeah. So, what kind of sucks about this executive order is it makes him look awesome, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
like the hero.
I
Like,
think
oh,
most people understand, or surely most people didn't believe necessarily that it wasn't his fault that it was happening in the first place, because that's
Yeah.
what it sounded like he was saying. He was saying it's the Democrats' fault. But now the play at the moment is they're pushing through a bill that would stop it, would make it so you can't separate children from parents, but they're also putting in funding for the wall and reduce legal immigration. So it now if the Democrats vote against it, they'll be able to use that against them and say, oh well, then you want children in detention, or you want children separated. Sorry.
so he's kind of undercut it.
It's a strategy.
Yeah.
So his argument from the start was that it's the Democrats' fault. He's now set up a situation where it's incumbent. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Not incumbent.
no.
It's not. Anyway, I can't think of it. It's the Democrats' job now to vote for it, because otherwise they look like people who want children to be separated from their families. So I think it's probably what they wanted from the start.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that was the plan?
Yeah. I
Are
think
they
so.
really that?
Well, apparently they
Smart.
always wanted to get rid of this Flores thing, even before this separating families thing started.
Actually, it sounds like an evil genius kind of thing.
No, it is.
Sounds like it sounds like politics.
Yeah,
in
it's been in
Washington.
play for like the last few months. What you knew by putting that in place, you knew what it was, and then a month and a half later, you're like, oh wait, I don't want to see this happening. Like,
He hadn't
what
been.
happened? What changed within 2 months that you
Yeah.
now have come to terms with what this actually means in like reality? You know?
I think it's like with
What, do you have to change
negotiation,
your
you
heart?
have to have something. You have to have leverage, right?
Yeah.
He's using the kids being separated from their parents as leverage.
When you think, oh, he's a legend, he's really nice, but
So it could all just be a
Like-
tactic to get the wall built.
I think it is, and it'll probably work. Maybe. Honestly, with the wall though, it's such a small fraction what they're asking for in terms of money compared to other things that they spend money on, that it's almost like just let him do it. He got voted in on that policy. It's a stupid idea. Like, it's going to cost him a lot of money and it's probably not going to work, but he might as well be allowed to do it.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't get
I
what
don't
it was.
know.
What it like. I think they want $25 billion for it. They spent $400 billion on the new Joint Strike Fighter.
Right.
Like, scale in terms of money, how much something costs. It's like it's a lot of money, but it's not break the bank kind of money for America.
Yeah.
They do $1 trillion deficit
No sweat.
every year.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say no to 25B.
Any other comments
We know.
on the line?
Nothing that brings up anything new.
We do love you guys.
Does Nick Koo want to have
Guys,
an argument?
thank you for adding some good insights. Now,
Because
It'll be
part of
interesting.
it is about the whole 2014 aspect of it, which I think we kind of touched on how.
Oh yeah, Obama. The same thing happened under
Yeah,
Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's sort of like it kind of sounds like Americans have more of a conscience than we do in Australia, because everyone got really upset and now they've changed it, whereas we were doing horrible things to children for a really long time and no one really cared.
Maybe we're worse at talking about it. I don't know.
I don't know.
you mean because it doesn't feel like we was?
Or maybe our social media isn't as effective
Mm.
because we don't have as big celebrities.
We don't have a Trump.
I think everyone knew it was happening though, right? And they just chose not to care.
But I agree, it hasn't
America or
blown
Australia?
up. It never blew up in a media way to the way that theirs does.
Yeah, I don't think anything blows up in Australia
No.
compared
Yeah.
to America. But yeah.
Because like, there's the list of celebrities is pretty short.
Yeah.
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 It's like Carl Stefanovic and it's bad.
Don't get us
Don't-
started
don't
on
get
Carl.
us started
Oh,
on
kidding.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah. So, really sad. At the heart of it is just people, you know. I mean, there's a portion of people who are crossing the border for the wrong reason, right? They are trying to extort and do bad things and traffic kids and stuff like that. But
Oh yeah. I
But-
assume that's quite a small proportion though.
yeah, but at the heart of it, it's people in desperate situations
Mm.
that are looking for help. So it's a big morality
Part of it's
and
because Central America is
humanity.
all messed up because of their war on drugs.
yeah,
all
and
these
crime
other
and
things.
whatever. So, not that America ever would, but you know, what can they do to actually just help the people on the other side?
Ideally, those countries would be like fixed up so that
Yeah.
people don't have to leave.
Don't have to leave
Yeah.
and they can stay there, but yeah,
Because it's happening all over the world. Like
look at
Europe.
Middle East.
America.
Yeah.
Australia.
Hmm.
People don't want to live in terrible places.
No,
Who knew?
a simple logic, right?
Mm,
Who knew?
wild.
Yeah.
Nick agrees with Jono for once.
Oh,
That's
what?
weird. I'm pretty sure it was about the building the wall part.
It's probably
Oh.
because I mentioned it happened to Obama. That was probably the thing.
That's a winner.
So Nick wants the wall.
Yeah, I guess.
Nick's
Oh.
a wall guy.
He wants to
Uh,
build a wall.
So next, another darker. No, that sounded wrong. Another serious topic.